So this is the informal part of our meeting tonight. What I'm about to tell you is what we did on the Future Vision Committee. So the Future Vision Committee has been meeting regularly since January. We have 8 committee members with, 8 committee meetings with over 400 hours of work placed in this effort. So we've been meeting quite a bit, working quite a bit together. So the purpose was to provide a range of options and viewpoints from the stakeholders identified by the Shell Employee Credit Union Board as essential to have input during for a rebrand conversion. So we're looking at this option. The potential for the board to choose a different direction and to make sure that the future is a rebrand and envision it appropriately. So the committee is made up of stakeholders that represent a variety of opinions from a range of demographics as well. So we have 17 members in total. There was 5 subject matter experts, brand, communications, and market research. There was the management team was on this committee, 2 board representatives, that was myself and Tim Rose. There was 2 staff, 2 ordinary members, 1 retiree member, and 1 non-member. So we really stretched it out wide to get the best information we could, the best feedback. Opinions of our members, whether they be staff, board, or individuals, are key. But the subject matter experts that we have engaged around the table helped us to keep us grounded, facilitate our conversions and conversations so that we are focused on driving growth and results. I've already told you about our experts from Insight Matters and communication professionals from CIPR, Christina and Peter. Subsequently, in January, we added to our team by engaging creative experts, GWP Brand Engineering. GWP is leading our Future Vision Committee through a 3-phase approach to help them create brand recommendations for the board and ultimately for you, the member. All this information, by the way, is on the Shell CU website, so you can actually get the full detail behind this process. So the brand engineering process composed of 3 phases. The first one in January was the learning phase. So that included things like stakeholder interviews, market research, and internal interviews. The second phase, which happened mostly in February, included name searching, brand positioning, legal opinions to make sure we chose a name that wasn't already picked up by somebody else. And at phase 3, which happened in the past month, included logo design and taglines, making sure it was aligned with our vision and mission of this credit union. Deliverables were to recommend to the board on a brand, name, and logo while still keeping our past success and intimacy with our Shell community whole. The board had ultimate oversight and authority, and we realized the responsibility extended by the membership to act in a prudent and strategic fashion. And on March 12th, I'm happy to report the Future Vision Committee presented to the full board the recommendation on our final brand name, logo, and the recommendations were passed unanimously. It wasn't easy to get there, but we put a lot of effort into this. I want to acknowledge the work of the Future Vision Committee and also the board for supporting this decision. Each one of us committed considerable time, and we all debated and soul-searched for the past 3 months. We rubbed each other really hard to make sure that we had the right options in front of us. I am excited about this opportunity. And I'm confident that I can look in each one of your eyes that we looked at every viable option, and we're committed to choose the right path forward with this rebranding. I'm a 25-year staunch, proud Shell Canada employee. And I had a difficult time reconciling a brand rechange. But over time, I realized this is the right path forward. And as I look around the room, I see my father over there in the corner, 39-year Shell veteran. He worked at the Montreal East Refinery as an operator, night shift. He retired nicely under the gold-plated defined benefit plan. And I could look him in the eyes in a pragmatic manner saying, this is the right thing for us to do. Pragmatically speaking, let's think about just cold turkey. Shell's name and our credit union branding is currently inhibiting us from attracting more members from the energy sector, especially now that we've inherited a large CNRL membership from the divestiture. Shell branding, since the RDS integration, has been constantly challenging us as to why we have the name Shell in our Shell Credit Union name, because that belongs to them. And we're an independent organization. We're not affiliated in terms of a subsidiary. We're an independent organization. So it's just a matter of time we're going to be asked to remove that name. Our counterparts in the US, the Shell Credit Union in the US, had to do that. And this is why they decided to rebrand and they went to a different direction. So let's not try to wait for that moment to come and do this ahead of time while we still have the intimacy with the Shell Credit Union, or Shell intimacy with the Shell community, sorry. Also, Shell asset growth rates will be meager and slightly declining over time relative to our peer group. This is not sustainable. Shell Canada growth plans are not necessarily going to provide another surge of investments in Alberta. In the past, we've always waited during these downtimes, another surge of investments. This was my thinking at the time. But really, the most likely outcome would be LNG Canada going ahead with FID positive decision. This will be in BC. And LNG Canada will be a separate company, separate organization. Shell is an interest holder. But most of the growth there will be in BC in terms of membership and employee opportunities, but not in Alberta. So that limits us to some extent. And there's no guarantee that we're going to have free access to those new employees should that project go ahead. So currently we're detailing a business plan that is being shaped that will accompany the rebrand. So just to be clear, tonight we're not asking for a decision. We're just asking you to consider this option. And we're going to have plenty of communication to come up. So at this point, it becomes my pleasure to introduce Philippe Garneau from GWP Brand Engineering. He is the president and chief officer for GWP. Just a little context for Philippe. So GWP Brand Engineering is a Canadian company founded in 1996. They help organizations engineer a brand strategic positioning, story, value, tone, and character. GWP has engineered Meridian Credit Union brand, the Credit Unions of Ontario Association, and worked with ING Direct, Portage, Burwell, and Intact Insurance, just to name a few. So we made sure we put the right resources behind this effort. So, without further delay, I'll introduce Philippe Garneau.